Hello, listeners. Welcome back to TubTube Podcast community today. We dive into the life of a woman who passed away over 70 years ago, yet she is still saving lives today. Her cells have been used to cure diseases, develop vaccines, and even travel to space, all without her knowledge. But while the world benefited from her, her own family was left in the shadows. This is the story of Henrietta Lacks, the woman behind the immortal HeLa cells, one of the greatest medical discoveries in history. How did her cells become so valuable? What happened to the family she left behind? And how is she still shaping the future of medicine today? Let's dive into the incredible and controversial story of Henrietta Lacks. 1. Family history. Henrietta Lacks was born into a family with deep roots in the American South. Her ancestors were enslaved people who worked on tobacco plantations in Virginia. After the abolition of slavery, many black families, including Henrietta's, continued to work the same lands under the harsh conditions of sharecropping. This system kept them in poverty and limited their access to education and healthcare. Henrietta's parents, John Randall Pleasant Lacks and Eliza Lacks Pleasant, were both descendants of formerly enslaved people. They lived in Roanoke, Virginia, but struggled financially. The family's history was marked by hard labor, and Henrietta's early life was shaped by the racial and economic challenges of the Jim Crow South. 2. Birth and childhood. Henrietta Lacks was born Loretta Pleasant on August 1, 1920, in Roanoke, Virginia. It is unclear how she came to be known as Henrietta, but at some point in her early life, her name changed. When Henrietta was just 4 years old, her mother, Eliza, died while giving birth to her 10th child. Unable to care for all the children alone, Henrietta's father sent his children to live with relatives. Henrietta was raised by her grandfather, Tommy Lacks, in Clover, Virginia, a small rural town. She lived in a log cabin that once housed enslaved people on the former Lacks family plantation. Growing up, Henrietta worked on the family's tobacco farm while attending a segregated school. Life was tough, but she formed a close bond with her cousin David, Day Lacks, who would later become her husband. 3. Education. Henrietta attended a segregated black school in Clover, Virginia. Schools for black children in the South were poorly funded, and access to higher education was rare. She only completed 6th grade before leaving school to work on the tobacco farm full-time. Like many black children at the time, education took a back seat to survival. Because she left school at a young age, Henrietta never received formal training in science or medicine. However, her unwitting contribution to medical research would later revolutionize the field. 4. Early life. As a young woman, Henrietta spent her days farming tobacco and helping raise younger relatives. In her teenage years, she developed a romantic relationship with her cousin David, Day Lacks. The two eventually had children together before getting married in 1941. When World War II created job opportunities in the North, Henrietta and Day moved to Turner Station, a black working-class neighborhood near Baltimore, Maryland. Day found work at Bethlehem Steel, while Henrietta took care of their growing family. 5. Adult life. Henrietta and Day had 5 children together. Lawrence Lacks, born in 1935. Elsie Lacks, born in 1939. David Sonny Lacks Jr., born in 1947. Deborah Lacks, born in 1949. Zachariah Bari Abdul Rahman, born Joseph Lacks, born in 1950. Henrietta was known for her kindness, strength, and devotion to her family. She loved cooking, dancing, and spending time with friends. However, life was not without hardship. Her daughter, Elsie, was born with epilepsy and developmental disabilities. Elsie was institutionalized in Crownsville State Hospital, a facility notorious for mistreating black patients. Despite these struggles, Henrietta remained a strong and loving mother. She balanced her responsibilities at home while occasionally working as a housekeeper and domestic worker. 6. Her life and medical legacy. In early 1951, at the age of 31, Henrietta began experiencing severe abdominal pain and bleeding. She visited Johns Hopkins Hospital, one of the few hospitals at the time that treated black patients. After an examination, doctors discovered a large, malignant tumor on her cervix. Without her knowledge, doctors took a sample of her tumor cells during a biopsy. Unlike normal cells, which die after a few divisions, Henrietta's cells continued to grow and multiply indefinitely. This was an unprecedented discovery. Her cells were immortal. Her cell line, later named HeLa cells, became the first immortal human cell line. Scientists used HeLa cells for groundbreaking research, leading to medical advancements such as the polio vaccine. Jonas Salk used HeLa cells to develop and test the first polio vaccine in 1952. Cancer research. Scientists studied how cancer spreads and how chemotherapy affects cells. AIDS research. HeLa cells helped scientists understand HIV, AIDS, and develop treatments. Genetic studies. HeLa cells played a key role in mapping human DNA and gene therapy. Space research. NASA sent HeLa cells to space to study the effects of zero gravity on human cells. Virus research, used to study herpes, measles, mumps, HPV, influenza, Ebola, and COVID-19, and vaccine development, helped in testing mRNA vaccines. Pfizer, Moderna. Cloning and stem cell research, key role in cloning technology and regenerative medicine. Radiation, tested effects of nuclear radiation and sent to space missions. Drug development and toxicology, used to test thousands of drugs before human trials. 7. Death. Despite undergoing radiation therapy, Henrietta's cancer spread rapidly. By September 1951, she was in excruciating pain. On October 4, 1951, Henrietta Lacks passed away at Johns Hopkins Hospital. She was buried in an unmarked grave in Clover, Virginia, near her childhood home. Her death was tragic, but her cells continued to thrive in laboratories worldwide, unknowingly changing the future of medicine. 8. After death, legacy and ethical controversy. For decades, Henrietta's family was unaware that her cells had been taken, shared, and sold for research. Scientists and biotech companies profited from HeLa cells, but Henrietta's descendants remained in poverty, struggling to afford medical care. In 1973, the Lacks family discovered the truth when scientists contacted them for blood samples. They were shocked to learn that Henrietta's cells were being used for research without their consent. This raised ethical concerns about patient rights, informed consent, and racial exploitation in medicine. Henrietta's story remained largely unknown until Rebecca Skloot's 2010 book, The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, brought her legacy into the spotlight. The book inspired a 2017 HBO film starring Oprah Winfrey as Henrietta's daughter, Deborah. Recognition and honors. Although Henrietta was not recognized during her lifetime, her contributions are now widely acknowledged. In 2013, the National Institutes of Health, NIH, reached an agreement with the Lacks family, granting them some control over HeLa research. In 2021, Johns Hopkins University honored her with a building named after her. In 2023, her family reached a settlement with Thermo Fisher Scientific, a company that profited from HeLa cells. Henrietta Lacks may have left this world in 1951, but her impact is still alive today. Her HeLa cells have shaped modern medicine in ways she never could have imagined, saving lives, curing diseases, and advancing science. Yet, her story is also a reminder of the ethical challenges in medical research and the importance of consent and justice. Her legacy is both inspiring and controversial, but one thing is certain: Henrietta Lacks is a name the world should never forget. Thanks for listening to this podcast. New episodes are released every Monday through Friday, so be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to never miss out. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like, share, and leave a review. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Stay awesome, and I'll see you in the next one.